All right. So what I was saying is that the current neocon strategy is laughable for the long-term military success of the United States. It's just pathetic. Okay. So people under 50 now have all played war games. There are guys like me. And in war games, as I said previously, during relative peacetime, and fighting these extremists is a joke. It's not a war. War is like Nazi Germany invades France. A war is like Vietnam, except they're coming over here. I mean, even Vietnam was technically a police action. You don't need to, but let's, there's war. There's war, and then there's this war on terror, which is destroying our economy unnecessarily. It's just a few bands of extremists. Even if they did hit us, the cost of our actions there are costing the equivalent in terms of lost money of 1 million Americans a year from car accidents and obesity and poverty. All the indicators that we have to combat is we have one of the highest poverty rates in the world. We have one of the highest incarceration rates. We have the highest incarceration rate. We have 2 million people in prison. China's only got 1.5 million. India's only got 300,000. Russia's only got 1 million. We got this obscene tax on our economy from corrections, an obscene tax on our economy from interest only on the 4 trillion that's been spent since 2000, deficit on militarism okay, we need to deal with poverty. We have to deal with the fact that China is going to eclipse us in patents. We have to deal with the fact that real military technology development is going to have an edge on countries that have major manufacturing high tech, because it's all about miniaturization right now. Moore's Law, which doubles computers every 18 months, has a very highly military application, because we have proof of concept now of things like erasing and restoring memories in the case of rats, embedding chips in people's head in the case of stroke victims. This is all on PBS recently. It's for real, and it's very interesting. So there are technologies that will happen the next 10 years are going to outstrip nuclear as a problem, because they'll be able to just wipe anybody out who's trying to do nuclear, nanotechnology, masking events. See, with Moore's Law, anything that you can kind of prototype eventually will be commercializable, okay? Because you can never base a product design around something that's never been done. But once it's been done once, Moore's Law is going to allow you to stretch what it can do. So R&D is very important, and manufacturing is very important, not just regular manufacturing like our weapons makers here, but high-tech manufacturing and in mass. And that's because we're going to pay through the teeth if we have a boutique miniaturization industry, and China's got a mass-scale miniaturization industry. That's my view. I doubt anybody can disprove it, or I think it's probably true. Now, let's get back to summarizing this article. So Romney's not going to restore our constitutionality. There's no sign of that. He's not going to cut this laughable, pathetic military spending. So what's the laughable, pathetic part about it is that if you go to look at indebtedness of countries in Wikipedia or wherever, just Google it, you'll see the U.S. is number 10 in the world. Only above it is Jamaica and the countries in Europe that are in big trouble: Greece, Ireland, Portugal. Even Iceland is going to be in better shape than us after they just had their whole banking sector wiped out, according to projections, by 2015. That's the other problem. Our projections are showing that it's going to continue to rise, the deficit. No country is showing the ability to grow to be in the top 10 with the European and American deficits. Europe, Japan, and America will be below number 10 position in the world economies. And the thing we have in common is actually our debt levels, as I've mentioned before. So these people are stupid. Now, there's one way what they're doing makes sense, which is if they did an immediate attack now. So we would basically be having to destroy other major economies and cripple them to keep them from growing, which would be not in the interest of anyone except this ruling class. Because if the more business, the more business. If the Mexicans are rich, we can actually make more money. It's just like if you're selling a product. You want rich people, because then you can charge more for your product. Um, and you can also get into the market better because the product margins are fatter and people have more money to spend. So why would we want to make all these other countries poor? Only if we ran the whole show, and we don't. These people are not our friends. Okay, R&D, patents, China is on the right side of that. We need to have education. We need to eliminate poverty because that drives healthcare costs. I think I mentioned that. He's not going to help us with any of that. They're all clamoring for these stupid, insane short-term policies. It did take me about probably a year to put all this together half-time. But, you know, they've got millions of people. How could they overlook this? Only Ron Paul has been willing to take unpopular stands. And it does, to some extent, remind me a little bit of Winston Churchill. They both spent many years in the political wilderness. As far as, I don't know when exactly it occurred, but Winston Churchill got in a lot of trouble because he had this campaign against Turkey that created quite a massacre. It was quite unsuccessful during the First World War. But his warnings were so detailed and so numerous prior to the Second World War that no one could gainsay him. And he, in this same respect, Ron Paul's warnings have been numerous and detailed. And Winston Churchill would have never sold out to Hitler. That was clear to everybody because it was in his blood. It was his passion. It was his life. And it's the same with Ron Paul. Ron Paul's economics and orientation, libertarian, if you will, is in his blood. He would get much more personal satisfaction seeing these dreams come true than he would being the emperor of the world, because he essentially despises the people that have such lust for power as debased beings, in my view. And like Churchill, he's being called by us to face down fascism. And perhaps like Churchill, a new generation will take over once the beast has been vanquished and the job has been done. Churchill didn't survive much longer than the Second World War as a prime minister. And maybe Paul won't either once the beast is slain. In other words, some aspects of the philosophy of a limited government could fall a number of different ways, because we do have the technology to eliminate want in the world. And right now, because of corruption problems, we can't do it through the government. We need to redo things so that we can avoid corruption, and probably do that by keeping things smaller scale at the community level. So in this case, states' rights, community rights, a lightweight federal government, because you can't do different things if your federal government has a one-size-fits-all mark, and that's the whole problem. You can't have laboratories. How would I start, you know, my own medical research university, cooperative in the Bay Area with a co-op farm? All the research is already spoken for, and I don't have the money, and it's very expensive now to tool up for all of that. So at any rate, we'd have this huge tax on us, all these rules, all of these taxes we have to pay. So we are constrained. It's all regulated and taxed in such a way that it's harder to try new things. Forgive me, I quit smoking recently. That's my e-cigarette. So I think that's about it. So the summary view is, if you're a progressive, Ron Paul is right now for the next 4 years your best friend. Thank you, good luck, and good night.